Well,
If,
thank
if,
you.
yeah, 1 second, please.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to everybody to what I hope will be an informative, interesting, and very welcome start to the new year. Let me welcome, first of all the members of the British Argentine Chamber of Commerce, of which I am the chair, but also members of the Argentine British Chamber of Commerce in Buenos Aires, and to the to the Argentine American Chamber of Commerce in Florida. So we're spanning North and South America and the UK. It's good to have you all with us. We've got rather important guests. I'll introduce all the guests now and then give you the running order, and we'll just run through thereafter. Our guests are firstly Ambassador Javier Figueroa, who is a lawyer by profession and a career diplomat who's served in Latin America, Africa, and I say the UK rather than Europe because he's been to the UK more than once on postings. And he is, of course, the Argentine ambassador in the United Kingdom, and moved very quickly and with great haste from his previous ambassadorial job, which of course was in Cuba. Maria Polito is Undersecretary for the Knowledge-Based Economy in the Ministry of Productive Development. She's a political scientist by background, but is an expert on science and technology. And her previous position was as Minister of Production, Science and Technology in the province of Buenos Aires. Very welcome to you, Maria. And Alejandro Vici. Alejandro is Director for Federalization of Productive Innovation in the Ministry of Development. He's an expert on trade, economics, and commercial development. And he's been at various times an academic, a consultant, and executive director at the Bayer Export Network of Exporters. Now, let me also welcome and name Valeria González Posse, who is the minister in the embassy in London, the Argentine embassy in London, and is in charge of the commercial department in that embassy. The running order is quite simple. The ambassador will lead off, followed by the undersecretary, who I understand, Maria, you will speak, but you will then have to leave before we get to the Q&A because you've got another appointment. Then Director Alejandro Vici, and then we'll ask Susanna Eccleston, who's our excellent executive director here at our chamber in London, to chair the question and answer session. And then Minister Valeria González Posse will sum up at the very end, and that will be the end of the meeting. At this point, Ambassador, over to you.
Thank you, John. Well, it is said that you never begin a speech or a meeting with an apology, but this will be my case. After that, the brief word that I will say, I have to leave you because I have a really hectic Zoom afternoon. Well, it is a pleasure to welcome you to this session organized jointly with the British Argentine Chamber of Commerce and the Undersecretary of. As you know, knowledge-based services are the fastest growing sector in Argentina and provide significant opportunities for British sector service firms. From biotech software, aerospace and satellite service to nanotechnology, knowledge-based services are indeed the fastest growing sector in Argentina. A number of international companies recognizing the advantages that Argentina poses in this sector, having established their firms there and exported knowledge-based service from Argentina. Some of these advantages are Argentina's outstanding position in global services, our human capital. Argentina has an exceptional talent supply of English-speaking workforce for high added values activities. We have a highly competitive cost structures. The sector constitutes a mature sector, plus than 12 years. Different governments from different political parties have supported this sector. We have a fiscal incentive, the knowledge-based service law that Undersecretary Maria Polito will talk about was recently, I think last week, was implemented by a presidential decree. We have availability of high quality, affordable office space with lower prices than the regional average. Argentina is also located in a convenient time zone regarding Britain. And let me add that our main export destination are the USA, 49% of our export, Uruguay 10%, Chile 8%, and Mexico. Indeed, Argentina could be an excellent platform to export to these countries. Also very important, Argentina have extensive legislation on data protection and as a signatory of the Convention of Personal Data Protection, and was the first country in Latin America to be recognized by the European Union of having met qualification for data transfer for Europe. Only a handful of countries have qualified on that. I think there has never better time to look into Argentina for knowledge-based services. We at the embassy are available to answer any question that you will ask regarding the settlement of firms in Argentina or regarding the law or any other issue. Thank you very much. As I said, I'm afraid I had to leave you. Sorry again, and thank you very much.
Maria, to you, please.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the British Argentine Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Javier, for participating in this meeting. I'm so sorry for my English. If it's not a correct English, I can help you with the translation. The knowledge economy promotion law is a powerful tool of the Argentine government that aims to create the better conditions for high technological companies. We pretend with this normative change our productive profile and develop our country and show that the Argentine is a possibility to install and develop the new economics and productive and profile based in software, biotech, nanotechnology, video games, satellite industry, clinical trials. The benefits and the characteristics of this promotion and these benefits will be presented by Alejandro Vici, our Director of Regionalization of Innovation. I would like to emphasize that the knowledge economy law is the starting point for the objective that has this ministry that is working with several programs and measures to advance in specific activities of the economic knowledge. These economic laws are different. These economic knowledge activities are the different demands, and we have tried to take a response of its demands. For example, we have worked very hard with the sector of pharmaceutical sector, and we have today, in few hours, an important meeting with this sector. We are working in production a model based in a dialogue. With dialogue, we are building agreements between the productive sector, the state sector, and the union, the workforce of these areas of economy law, economy law knowledge. We have very convinced that this is the model to the development in the Argentina development. For example, we will make this meeting knowledge economy of health. Will be do it meeting presence with the chambers, the unions, and the different ministries with competence in health areas. We will announce a set of measures complemented the economy and the knowledge economy law to encourage local developments of new drugs and biosimilar drugs, and to position Argentina in a hub of clinical trials. Our country has more than 990 clinical trials at this moment, and we had 4,500 researchers in this issue. We work with the chambers to create this hub in Argentina. It's very important to strengthen local capacities to attract more protocols and more clinical trials in Argentina. In the 4 months of this year, we will be launching the production and health program that will complement the benefits of the economy, knowledge economy scheme. We will have also specific programs to strengthen filmmaking, production, and post-production that include video games. This sector has had delay in production as a result of the impossibility to film during the pandemic months. And the next week, we have had this program to benefit, the new benefits, to attract, invest in this sector that is very important for us. We have we can create employment, and we can create the dollars that are more necessary for Argentina. Argentina and this meeting will invite you and the companies to start a dialogue to encourage investment and the installation of knowledge-based economies. We are especially committed to carrying out this agenda with each of the companies that show interest in investing in Argentina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Maria. Do you have a few minutes before you have to leave, or is that it?
With you, with us.
Okay. If anybody has take one question, Maria, maybe if somebody has one question.
Yes.
I'll open it up to the floor.
Excuse me? I can't.
No, okay, I can't hear it either. I think we'll have to move on, Maria, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Undersecretary, Subsecretario. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Okay. Javier, Alejandro, shall we move over to you now, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John, and thank you everybody who was responsible of organizing this event. It's a pleasure to us for us to be here sharing with you this presentation. I'm going to to share a presentation about the promotion scheme. Of course, to everybody who are listening, good morning or good afternoon, according on where are you now? Well, I'm going to give some details about how this knowledge economy promotion scheme or regime works, and then we will have a quick overview about the sector in Argentina, complementing the information that both the ambassador and the undersecretary has just given. This knowledge economy act has been reformed in the last year, and the reform had included some changes in the law in order to make the access for the smaller companies easier to the benefits, and also it has some special articles regarding social inclusion and gender and also federalization. We have here a synthesis of which activities are included in this promotional scheme, also with the main benefits and the requirements. I will give a short overview of each of these aspects. First, on the left side of the screen, you have the promoted activities. It's quite wide and diverse scope of activities. Generally, this knowledge economy regime is associated with software and IT services or other high technology industries, but it also covers and gives benefits to filmmaking and some professional services when they are exported, and even some other activities related with, for instance, farming sector when it comes to research and development in genetics, like cattle breed improvements for livestock, or the seeds production, which are activities that are very strong in Argentina. Then, which are the main benefits that this promotional regime gives to these activities, to these companies specifically? Well, one of the main benefits is that these companies can turn 70% or 80% in some cases of the social security contributions. They can transform it in a tax credit bond that can be used to pay corporate taxes, like the corporate revenue tax, or also the VAT if the company, the VAT or the corporate revenue tax if the company is mainly exporting the services or products. So that is one of the main benefits. The percentage of tax credit bond can be 80% when the company hires people from certain groups that we want to help in getting this type of jobs. Those groups includes women, transgender people, people with disabilities, people who had been participants of employment programs, or also people who lives in the regions of the country that has lower human development index ratio, and also for professionals with postgraduate studies. So if the company hires workers from any of these groups, the tax credit bond can get to 80% of the social security contributions. Then there is a corporate revenue tax reduction when it comes to the promoted activities, because some companies can have a mixture of promoted activities and other activities that are beyond the scope of this law. That reduction can be from 20 to 60% of the corporate revenue tax rate. That depends on the size of the company. Of course, the smaller companies get the higher reduction of 60%, and the larger companies, the big corporations, get a 20% reduction of the corporate revenue tax, which this year, starting on January, is 25%, the general corporate revenue tax. Then there are other complementary benefits, like the non-withholding of value-added tax for exporting companies. I have to point to say that the companies that get these benefits have to pay a fee that is for audit charges, and also for it's a contribution to a fund that will give grants and special loans for the companies that are in these promoted activities. That fee is up to maximum 5.5% on the benefits that the companies get from this promotional regime. In order to get these benefits, the companies have to comply certain requirements, which we have on the right side of the screen. First of all, well, they have to enroll in the promotion registry. It's not automatically. They have to enroll and to demonstrate that they have, for instance, at least 70% of their sales comes from the promoted activities that we have just been talking about. There are some cases in which the sales of the company doesn't reflect the use of certain technology. That is a typical case, for instance, pharmaceutical companies that sells pharmaceutical products, but they use biotechnology in the research and development process, or in the manufacturing process maybe. But that is possible to also for this type of companies to get into the regime if they can demonstrate that they make an intensive use of this type of technologies in order to obtain or to manufacture these products, or to deliver this type of services. Another requirement is that the staff numbers must remain the same or increase during the permanence in the regime. But there are some reasons that can be accepted, like, for instance, if workers die, or they resignate, or they get full disability, for instance. But otherwise, the idea is that the overall staff remains or increases. Then the companies have to also fulfill other two requirements of the following three, and one of these three have two options. First of all, there is a requirement of making continuous improvement in the quality of its services, products, and/or processes. This can be achieved through an acknowledged standard, like the typical ISO 9000. Depending on the industry, there can be options. Another requirement can be or investment in human resource training, or investment in research and development. The percentage that they have to invest in these areas depends on the size of the company. Of course, the larger companies have the higher requirement, and the smaller companies have the smaller requirements. And there is a third requirement, additional requirement, that is the exports, that should be, depending on the size of the company, from 4 to 13% of the sales. And again, 4% for the smaller companies, 13% for the big corporations. And the startups, the new companies that are in the category of micro enterprise, during the first 3 years of their existence, they don't have to fulfill these additional requirements. The rest of the companies, they can choose 2 of these three options that I have been saying, unless the company is from the professional services export activity, because in that case, the export is the main activity that makes this organization suitable for entering in this promotion regime. In that case, a company that is dedicated to export professional services will have to comply with the requirement of quality and the requirement that can be human resources training or research and development. I can answer questions about this in some minutes, of course. But then I would like to stress some figures about these promoted activities in Argentina, like the ambassador and the undersecretary have already said. We have very strong sector of software and IT services, and also professional services export, which is 58% of our total services export. This is very wide, a very wide scope of activities. Also, we have very good performance in regards of, for instance, advertising agencies, advertising companies, the companies that make the ads for different media. We have also business process outsourcing companies, the larger companies, the top leaders in these activities have branches in Argentina that exports with hundreds of workers, accounting services, management services, human resources, including human resources selection, headhunting also. So it's very wide. There are also companies in Buenos Aires that provides executive assistant services for managers in USA, for instance, making use of this the time we share the time with most of the continent. Well, of course, we have also some important developments in video game industry, filmmaking, and biotech and other biodisciplines, like, for instance, bioeconomy, which is also very important. And that includes, for instance, the development or improvement of equipment used in order used to generate energy from biomass, like biogas from cattle manure, for instance. That is another activity that is included here in the promoted activities. And I'm just finishing a few moments. Also, we have some development in nanotechnology, which has been declared some years ago as one of the strategic areas for economic development. We have an aerospace and satellite industry, which is quite advantaged in this region, in this continent. And we also have manufacturing of industrial equipment, which is gradually turning into Industry 4.0 model. And in regards of research and development, we have a strong position also in Latin America. So I think this gives you a quick overview of some of our our knowledge-based economy sectors. It's expected that these sectors will continue to grow based on the present trend. We have a 4.3% accumulated annual rate of growth over the last 10 years. And we think there is still a very huge potential of growing based of our human resources strengths. We have a very strong university system, which is also producing a lot of these possibilities. There is also a growing demand for technical profiles, and we are working hard also in this ministry in order to foster careers, technical careers in science and engineering. So I think we will be able to satisfy this demand for technical profiles. I think that is all for this moment. I can answer some questions now if you have some interest, or otherwise here it is my email in order to be reached for any of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Alejandro. Could I just, before handing over to Susanna, could I just ask one question, which is how could our members of our audience access your presentation? Will it be on your website, or how would it be done?
No, I will give this presentation to Susanna. So I think the chamber will be able to, or the embassy also, they will be able to give it to anyone interested.
Thank you very much indeed. Susanna, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you, Alejandro. That was very clear, and I hope everybody, enjoyed this presentation. I know there's a lot more for you to share about the scope of this law, and as the chamber director, we have been very interested in this since the very beginning, because there's been a big interest from investors and organizations here in the UK as to the possibility of looking into opportunities in Argentina. I think this law gives, a great overview of the limitless possibilities for companies in all sectors to explore expansion, implementation, investment in Argentina. So thank you very much for that. I don't have any questions now from anyone, so please post your questions if you have any questions for Alejandro. But I would like to ask you two questions, Alejandro. Are environment-related technologies also included in the scope of this law?
Yes, certain environmental technology sectors are included. They are not specifically listed in the law, but the decree of actually the ministry decree, or that puts this regime into work, has specified some particular activities related with environmental technology that can be also benefited from this law. For instance, when it comes to the development of electric vehicles, electric cars, electric batteries, the development of batteries, and also as I said, the generation of renewable energies from biomass. So certain activities, but always it has to be the development from the scratch, or the improvement of equipment or solutions, not the production of energy, but the production of the equipment that the energy company needs to produce energy.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for that. Now, does Argentina offer the level and the amount of technology professionals that would cover the potential of big projects? Is there something that is available at the moment?
Yes, I mean, of course, knowledge-driven economy relies mainly on human talent, and that means people. And we are lucky. I mean, there is a challenge, of course, in keeping ahead with the demand of these profiles, because mainly specifically actually because these industries are growing, and the growth means that they need more people, and we are happy that they need more people. Is like we say, it's a nice problem. And but we know that in order to sustain these growth rates, we need to keep on developing public policies to foster these careers. And this is being carried out by different departments of our government, not only the education department or the Department of Labor. Our ministry, which is production development, here in the Secretary of Knowledge Economy, which is headed by Maria Polito, we have a direction for human capital, which is carrying on different initiatives in order to enhance the availability of these human resources. For instance, we have different programs. Some of them are based on e-learning platforms. And for instance, one of it is made by an agreement with Microsoft company, and other big companies are also helping in this way. Just as an example, our department has launched by the end of the last year one of these initiatives in order to train more people able to develop software. And we had 160,000 applicants, candidates, people who wanted to be trained in this activity in the initial level. So these are people who are working on anything else, not in computing industry, or they are unemployed and they want to get into the software industry. 160,000, and we had to close the
registration
enrollment because but we are going to make some steps in order to keep on enhancing this program. So I think there is always a growing demand, but we are working in order to keep on. And also Argentina is always an attractor of talent for the region, and we are also a country very open to migration, and that also helps to satisfy that demand.
Excellent. And I think that has a lot to do also with inclusion and career change for professionals who are trying to just do something different or expand their horizons. We have a question from Damian here. I would like to know if this law includes any particular implications for startups, and if not, and any other not yet completely established companies.
Well, the startup companies there is a special provision that means that in the first 3 years, when they start to work, to deliver services or to manufacture, in the first 3 years, they don't have to comply the additional requirements. As long as they remain in the category of micro enterprise, that is related with the amount of sales, but that is typically the situation of all these startups. But also we have a lot of programs that help the startups with financing by grants, by flexible loans, and also with venture capital programs.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Alejandro. We don't have any more questions, so if anybody has a question, and you could do it now, please. And if
I can add to the regarding what Damian was asking, that we have a federal structure in the country, and most of our provinces also have some promotional regimes which gives these companies, this type of companies, tax reductions or exemptions. Some of them, they can offer physical space or lands for some investment projects. So it's not possible to give all the scheme of benefits in one presentation, but is I think we can deal with that individually.
Now, Alejandro, we work a lot with companies that operate in Latin America. Would you say that this law would create a very good competition for companies who are looking at perhaps other countries rather than Argentina to expand their operations?
Well, yes, of course. I think every country in the world is trying to appeal to this type of investment and to attract them. So there is some competition regarding that, but I think every region have to make an effort to identify where it has their main possibilities. Every region have to develop an identity regarding all these industries. I think Argentina has some particular strength when it comes to the education system, which is specifically one of the reasons that attracts people from other countries to ours in order to get higher education. And we also have a very a tradition of being very creative and able to solve different problems. There are, I don't want to, it's not very nice to speak of other countries, but some companies which have made the experience of hiring people from other regions, other continents, have recognized that there is something in the Argentine workers that make them very able to deal with change, maybe because also we have some stability in our history, and that makes our people also very able to deal with new challenges, with different situations, and to be always trying to make to find the best solution, the best way to satisfy some requirements from the customer.
Excellent, excellent. I have a question from Roberto, but I was asking for some clarification because I don't really understand what he's trying to ask. I understand that there are some limitations to the benefit when an Argentine company works with a related party. How is that related party condition tested? Is that clear to you? I'm sorry, that is not clear to me.
Yeah, I think I understand. I guess well, every country has. This is even also is encouraged by the Organization for Cooperation and Development, Economic Development. There are some mechanisms in order to mitigate what is known as the base erosion and profit shifting practices from companies. This is related with tax regimes. How is the condition tested? That's very specifically, but I think the way it works in Argentina is not very different than the way it works in other European countries or American countries, because we are taking the OECD models in order to work with the base erosion and profit shifting practices. So I think it won't be a surprise for a company that works in other regulated, in other developed countries.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much. I don't have any more questions. So thank you very much, Alejandro. And as John mentioned, I mean, the presentations are going to be available and the recording and to everybody participating today, and even if someone couldn't join us today. But if there are any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact the chamber, and we'll be happy to make connections and with the embassy or with the ministry or with Alejandro directly. So thank you very much, Alejandro. And I will pass the mic to Valeria Gonzalez from the Argentine Embassy here in London for the final words. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Susana. I think that maybe I can ask a couple of questions to Alejandro, just to right before. How does this, is it possible to add provincial incentives to the law? And suppose in the case of a company that would like to provide the services from Argentina, let's say an IT company, and wanted to know about the different provinces and what they could provide. Would it be your area as a direction, federal, the one that would be able to provide some information for them?
Yes, we are all the time receiving the information of the promotional regimes of the different provinces. Generally, we have a provincial sales tax. It's more or less like in the US, where you have the federal corporate revenue tax, and then you have a sales tax. Well, there is a sales tax in each province, and many provinces are making laws in order to not to charge this sales tax to knowledge economy companies. There are some provinces which are very strong in exporting knowledge economy services, and some provinces also have some particular geographical attributes that make them very suitable, for instance, for filmmaking or advertising industry. And also there are some provinces which had been developed like a technological hub in certain industries. Like, for instance, we have a nuclear and satellite hub, very important in Bariloche in the Patagonia. So there are different profiles when it comes to different regions, and depends on the industry, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Just to sum up, the new Argentine law is just a starting point. There is an ongoing public-private sector way of putting forward this law to develop the model. The sectors involved are very diverse. It is the fastest growing sector in Argentina. The human capital is one of the highlights of Argentina in this, the English-speaking workforce. It is a mature sector with over 12 years. I think it's very important for the EU and the UK to say that Argentina is data protection compliant, which not many countries in the region are, I believe, besides from Argentina, so the Uruguay. The fiscal incentives which you spoke of, which is the reimbursement of 70 to 80% of the social security contributions, the corporate rate tax reduction of 20 to 60%, the non-withholding of value-added tax for exporting companies. And I think it's also worth mentioning, as you answered in one of the questions, the special considerations for micro and SMEs. And it's also the variety of the sectors that are involved. and that many are already active in Argentina. There are many international firms that do human resources, advertising, accounting, and filmmaking already taking place in Argentina. This is a sector which has a lot of potential for doing more business with the UK and for UK companies to get some of their services in Argentina. And I did want to touch on briefly on the clinical trials and how cooperation can bring about great success for both countries. And I'm speaking about the AstraZeneca and the GSK, where there are clinical trials that are taking place in Argentina, and particularly in the case of the AstraZeneca, some of those clinical trials led to provide important information for the production of the vaccine, as well as the physical production of elements of the vaccine in Argentina, in cooperation with the UK and AstraZeneca. So cooperation is very important in all these sectors. Argentina has a lot to offer. Your office and the embassy is open to questions and to provide additional information that companies that would like to go a step further in Argentina have. So that's essentially summing it up.
Thank you very much indeed, Susanna and Valeria. And above all, thank you very much, Alejandro, not only for the presentation, but for answering the questions so well and so fully. As both Susanna and Valeria have indicated, if members of the audience have questions, please send them to Susanna. She'll either pass them to Valeria or directly to Alejandro and the ministry in Buenos Aires, but be assured you will get an answer. Thank you all very much. We started the new year in a good way, and let's hope the vaccine that is being made in Argentina by AstraZeneca, and I think processed in Mexico, gets back to Argentina soon. All the very best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
John, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.